Well, good afternoon. My name is Susan Tyler Witten. I am the Kentucky State Representative in District 31 in Louisville. We're joined here today to celebrate the passage of Ethan's Law, or House Bill 258, legislation that makes landmark improvements to our state's animal welfare laws. House Bill 258 expands the definition of torture of a dog or cat to include situations where the extreme physical pain, serious physical injury or infirmity, or death results from intentional injury or infirmity while they are restrained. It also makes the torture a first offense felony. As a rescue dog owner and animal lover, I was proud to pick up this measure and work with my colleagues and other stakeholders to get it passed. And while I am honored, proud, and humbled to have been able to carry and fight for House Bill 258 this past session, I recognize that it took an army of legislators, stakeholders, and advocates, literally years, to finally get this legislation across the finish line. And I want to take a few minutes to recognize those that were so integral in this process. It started 16 years ago when Senator Tom Buford saw the need to extrapolate cases of torture of dogs and cats from the animal cruelty statute. Through this law, it was acknowledged that misdemeanors just don't fit certain extreme cases of inflicted pain when they are intentional. And this was a good start. And over the years, legislators intended to build on and improve what was done 16 years ago. Most recently, in the past few years, with the help of Craig Curry of Protect the Harvest and Dee Robinson, someone who has been so integral in getting this bill passed, the language was rewritten and expanded, as well as addressed a number of owners' rights concerns. The language was presented to the Kentucky Farm Bureau and the houndsmen, who expressed no concerns with the new language. So I want to thank these organizations, as well as the game fowl breeders, for their willingness to discuss and communicate, to get a bill passed that reflects what we all feel, that animals should be treated well and that animal cruelty is wrong. Now, we have a few people here that I want to make sure that you hear from, but first, I'd like to thank everyone who made today possible. Now, this is dangerous territory, as I know I'm going to likely forget someone. However, I think it is worth the risk to recognize those who played a pivotal role in getting this legislation across the finish line. That includes House Speaker David Osborne, who unfortunately could not be here. He's in Wisconsin today. And Majority Whip Jason Nemes. He was so important in getting this bill heard in the House that I cannot even understate how important his leadership was on the House side. Senate Majority Caucus Chair Julie Rocky Adams, she got this through the Senate for the first time ever, and she was a true leader and an advocate for this bill. Representative Chris Freeland, who could not be here today, but in years past, he sponsored this bill. And today we have Representative Ryan Dotson here, who sponsored this bill last year, was really integral in making sure that the language was correct and was so important in his leadership of getting it passed this year. I want to thank Dee Robinson and Scott Hagan, both of which are devoted to animal welfare and have spent years working to achieve what we have finally achieved this year. I also want to recognize the Kentucky Farm Bureau, the Kentucky Houndsmen, and the Kentucky Game Fowl Breeders for their work to make this bill better. And of course, Secretary of State Michael Adams for participating in today's signing and bringing even more attention to the measure. And now I was told by leadership that Whip Nemes has a few words to say, so I'm going to let him speak for just a few minutes.
Thank you. Not a few minutes. I'll be quick. I don't have notes and I'm blunt, so I'm just going to be quick. I want to thank Mike Adams or Secretary Adams for being here today and his leadership on this. I just want to also point out two people. Susan said most everybody. This doesn't get done just because it's a good idea. It took 16 years, for goodness sakes. You'd think it would get done within a month, but it didn't. It takes power politics to do something like this. And Ryan Dotson got this through the House last year. He muscled it through. And then this year, when we knew we needed to get through the Senate also, we were looking, Ryan and I were talking with some others, who do we need to get on board this year? And Susan Witten took the mantle. 16 years. She's in her first term. It takes power politics. It takes aggressiveness. It takes effectiveness. And it took a first-year legislator to get this done in Susan Witten. So she didn't know I was going to say that, but we're not here today if Ryan Dotson didn't do the work that he did last year, and that Susan Witten doesn't put us past the end goal here. So anyway, I want to just say that, make it clear as day that Susan Witten is the reason we're here today, and appreciate everybody coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Demas. And now I would like to introduce someone that probably needs no introduction to this room today. This man has been an advocate that has been on the front line these past few years, fighting to combat animal cruelty and to promote kindness everywhere he goes. You simply may know him as Ethan's papa. But ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Jeff Callaway.
Thank you guys very much. I do have notes, so I am going to be a few minutes. I've got a lot of people that I would like to thank, and first of all, thank you guys for getting loud. We were getting a little too quiet there. This is a happy day right here. First thing I want to say, take a deep breath and look around. Look at where we're at. We're in the capital of the great state of Kentucky, one of the most beautiful Capitol buildings in the country. And let me say this bill doesn't get done without each one of you also. You guys were right there every step of the way. And so give yourselves a big round of applause. I'm also going to forget some people, so I apologize, but I kind of got a list. I have some folks that I want to thank just on Ethan's behalf. The person, a lot of you, if you're here, you know Ethan's story. The person that went and took Ethan and saved his life and brought him to the animal shelter, that person, I'm grateful to that person forever. Tatum, little boy that saw Ethan in the parking lot and notified his mom and dad. He could have not said anything. He could have thought there was nothing important about it. There was nothing unusual. He said something, and, it saved Ethan's life. There wasn't another car that drove by for another couple hours. It was during COVID. It was a cold day. It wasn't good. Annie, who worked at the animal shelter, who rushed out immediately. Annie and Valerie was there and scooped him up and brought him in. And from the very beginning, I think from the first Ethan Almighty extended family reunion that we had online, I think I told you guys, anytime you give me a voice to speak, there's a group of people that I'm going to thank. And that's the people that physically saved his life. And a lot of them are here today. Jackie Claxton, who's here. Raise your hand, Jackie. Jackie was a vet tech. Jackie took Ethan home the first night he was there. He started seizing in the middle of the night. Jackie could have said, hey, it's late. I'm just going to go back to bed. He'll probably be okay. She didn't. She put him in the back of the car. She rushed him to the emergency vet and saved his life. Dakota Arnold, who I don't think is here, named Ethan, also a vet tech. Rebecca Van Shapen, who is here, Rebecca, an amazing vet tech, but also a fantastic photographer. Some of the early pictures you see of Ethan were taken by Rebecca. Some of the kind of famous ones were on the side of the building, also taken by Rebecca. She is fantastic. Angela Mikesell, also a vet tech here who is amazing and fantastic, and the only person since I adopted Ethan who has kept Ethan overnight, who I kind of trust to keep Ethan down. And I cannot forget Dr. Emily Bewley, who in large part, Ethan is here because of her. There were folks that said, I don't know if this is going well. Is he suffering? And she said, there's something about this dog. We're going to try this a little bit more. And he kept getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And Dr. Emily Bewley was the first shelter vet in the state of Kentucky to win Vet of the Year. Quite honestly, the work that they do there, they could win Vet of the Year every year. I mean, what they do is fantastic. I definitely want to mention my family, whose life has been completely flipped and turned upside down. And we just wanted to save a dog. I just knew he was mine when I saw him, and I thought, I'm going to make sure this dog knows that somebody cares about him before he passes away. And look where we're at. I mean, he's got tens of thousands of people that follow him and support him and love him, and this has happened. So it's been a sacrifice for the folks in my family, for my kids to go out and people ask them about their dog that's at home. It's kind of a little bit weird for them. Some other people I want to run through quick. Tanya and Tammy York in Louisville. Joan Bringarner, thank you so much for all your support, and thank you for being here. Crystal Brashear, Liz Duff, Johnny Kinney Lanham, Rosemary Eyre from Canada. And if you know some of the stories of the things that she has sent from Canada that have shown up on these really remarkable days, it's really quite amazing. Dee Dee Cox, who helped organize this and organizes everything, and she knows everyone, at least in the city of Louisville and Bardstown. She does fantastic. Heather Wurr, who has come in multiple times from North Carolina to follow. She follows Ethan. She comes in to see Ethan, and she has done so much from afar. Patty Johnson, who has done so much for us. She's even gone out of town with us many times. Savannah Dean Reeves, thank you so much for being here and what you've done. I want to thank Russ Smith and Sean Vander in Louisville. Also want to recognize Ethan Branscombe. Where's Ethan at? Ethan is 11 now. Ethan does a fantastic job. Ethan is 11 now. He'll be 12. He spent half of his life advocating for animals and trying to get a bill passed also in the state of Kentucky. And I want to mention Debbie Maddox, who has become such a wonderful, great friend to me and has spent so many countless hours coming to Frankfort through the last 4 legislative sessions, the last 3.5 years. Sometimes I felt like I was a legislator. We came to Frankfort so many times and met with so many people, and she was there every step of the way. So thank you so much. Dr. Robin Ganser and American Humane, who have been so kind to us. A lot of the local media, like a lot of this stuff, we can't get the word out. We can't get advocacy out there without some help. So local media, folks like Don G. and Rick Van Hoos and Alex Succo, Claudia Coffey, Erica Bivens, Amelia Fraser Theobald, thank you so much for being here. And Dwight Whitten, thank you so much to Dwight also. And Shirley's Way and Monica Perkins and Mike Mulrooney. If you guys don't know what they're doing, they are doing fantastic, amazing stuff in the city of Louisville and around the state. And they're doing great work. Thank you, Mike, for being here. Appreciate it. I mentioned this lady at the last thing we were at. She is a lady named Marianne Carter. Marianne Carter, let me get her name right. She is from Massachusetts. She bought a dog named Bordeaux. She sent that dog to a trainer in Kentucky who tortured, abused, and killed her dog. Her dog's name was Cyrus. That person is being prosecuted this fall. Thankfully, because there are so many counts, she is facing a felony charge. If it had just been the one dog, we would probably be in trouble. So there were a couple of times Mary Ann was going to try to come in town, but she was unable to do so. So I want to make sure to mention her. Also want to thank Governor Andy Beshear. I know he's not here, but he's always been a big supporter and always recognizes us everywhere we go. Now to the bill, right? Like, that was all just to say thank you to all of you folks for everything that you have done. First and foremost, you've heard her name before, but Dee Robinson, who is an amazing advocate for animals. She constantly is in touch with lawmakers and sending them information and statistics, and she's very passionate. Very passionate is what I'll say. So that's the word I'll use. I love Dee. I was hoping we could talk Dee into coming today, but she lives out close to Paducah. She could not make it. I also want to thank Representative Chris Freeland, who brought this bill up several years, Representative Ryan Dodson, Representative Jason Nemus, and Senator Julie Rocky Adams also. But every single person here, everyone in the Ethan Almighty family who has loved and supported and voted, whatever it was, sent emails, made phone calls, you guys are a part of this. Ethan's story is not the same with each and every single one of you. It's different. And his story is exactly what it's supposed to be. Even the folks that aren't here, like everyone that I come in contact with tells me they have a personal connection with him. Some folks that have never met him before because of what his story has meant to them and to their lives. And I will always be forever grateful for all of that. And last thing I want to say is I stood here. I can't tell you how many times when we came to Frankfurt and we would come through here, and it would be, sometimes there were people here, sometimes it was empty. And I would stand in this room right here and think about this day, right here. People wearing purple, a bill passed that will help cats and dogs in the state of Kentucky. And that's what it's all about. And I'll end one last time by thanking you guys so much. Thank you to all of you guys for being here. That means a lot to me. And thank you to all of you. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to continue to do some wonderful things. We've got a foundation in Ethan's name, Ethan Almighty's Blessings. We are working with Shirley's Way with Forever Friends. We're helping animals in the community. There's more work to be done legislative-wise. And stay tuned. We have this wonderful group from Los Angeles, Tanya McClure Rents, who are making a full-length feature movie about Ethan's story. Well, thank you, Tony, for coming in. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And now I'd like to introduce Kentucky's Secretary of State, Michael Adams, to say a few words. I'm thrilled to have Secretary Adams here to sign House Bill 238, and it shows his commitment to bringing attention to the issue of animal cruelty and to ensure our communities are both safe and compassionate. So, ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Adams.
Good afternoon and welcome to your capital. Thank you for being here today as Kentucky takes a step forward to keep our best friends safe and punish those who hurt them. I'm honored to be here with Representative Whitten and our other legislators, Mr. Callaway, and of course the star of the show, the star of every show, Ethan the dog. Unfortunately, Kentucky State Police's 2023 crime report saw a 35% annual increase over 2022 in reported animal cruelty cases. When it comes to abuse, Kentucky is the 5th worst state to be an animal. This law is a great step forward in holding abusers accountable. It's unimaginable the pain our furry friends can go through when they are left helpless through restraints. These animals suffer broken bones, starvation, even impalement. I'm glad to see the definition of torture expanded to include this type of cruel abuse. This isn't just important for our animals in Kentucky, but for everyone in Kentucky. Studies show that some 75% of violent animal abusers go on to commit other horrific acts like rape, domestic violence, even homicide. Now that we can impose stricter penalties on the abusers torturing cats and dogs, they may not have the opportunity to move on to women and men. While I'm passionate about helping domestic violence survivors through my office's Safe at Home program, wouldn't it be great if we didn't need the program? Here too, my hope is that with the passage of Ethan's Law, we make Kentucky a better place for animals and for people too. Thank you all so much, and now I'm honored to ceremonially sign this bill. Thank you very much.
In closing, I just want to thank you all so much for sharing this moment with us. We know that House Bill 258 makes Kentucky a better place to live, not just for dogs and cats that we love, but for every community, for every person in our community. We know that those who abuse animals often go on to abuse people, usually the most vulnerable. By supporting this legislation, we have put our foot down, and we will no longer tolerate the cruelty in our great Commonwealth. Your support has made a difference, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you again for taking the time to share this moment with us, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as Jeff Callaway always ends his posts, please do something kind for someone today.